Hi, it's Lee from ColouringQueen.net, and today I'm super excited because we've got Gnomes in the Neighbourhood. This is the third colouring book by Canadian artist Denyse Klette. Don't know if I'm pronouncing her name correctly. As with her previous colouring books, we've got these vibrantly coloured cover page with some lovely hot pink foil highlights on there, and I love the way that Denyse colours everything in such a vibrant way. Now of course you don't have to colour it in the same way, you can colour it however you fancy. So it's the same size as her previous books. If you haven't purchased Fairies in Dreamland or Mermaids in Paradise, they're the same sort of sizing as Joanna Basford's colouring books. Gorgeous spine with that lovely bright pink on it. Now, when she first said that she was releasing a Gnome colouring book as the third one, I was a little bit disappointed, to be honest. I really love Fairies in Dreamland, and I was really hoping for, more of the dreamy, sleepy type theme to re-emerge, especially that gorgeous piggy that was in it. So we've got a lovely little nameplate page here, and you can see in the background a lighter colour line art on the little gift boxes. It's not giving much away about the gnomes, but it's sort of showing you that you can be as creative as you want. I also think it's referring back to things like Mermaids in Paradise with this little underwater scene here and the paints. Denyse is an artist and sculptor as well, so it's a number of things in one, this nameplate page. So as I said, I was disappointed with the concept of Gnomes in the Neighbourhood, as I was hoping for a dreamy theme again. But then as soon as she put up the cover art for it, I just fell in love. I mean, talk about cute as. So the line art, on the whole, is mostly medium to heavy, and it's really, on the whole, really easy to see. Now, of course, there are some lines that are fainter and lighter because I think, like a lot of artists, they're meant to merge into the background, or they're meant to be more background looking. So this one has got a lot of texture and a finer line and really fine detail down here. And it's not as dark as this because this is more meant to be, I think, the foreground, and this is in the distance or in the background. And that change in colour of the line art sort of delineates perspective of the picture, I think. So we've got all these gorgeous little gnomes, and they don't really look like gnomes that you would imagine or that you may have seen in other books. I mean, first of all, they're surrounded by Denyse's distinct style with the florals, so lots and lots of flowers. Now the little girl gnomes sort of have a fat type face, if that's the right thing to say. Whereas the little boy gnomes kind of look more like you would imagine a little boy gnome to look like. And see, there's finer lines here, but then the rest of it is really super easy to see. So most people, even if you have a visual impairment, you should have no difficulty seeing the image, but you may need a magnifying glass for some of the smaller parts if you have a minor visual impairment. So we've got these gorgeous birds, and we first met those in Fairies in Dreamland, and I like the way that there is a constant theme of the art, and these beautiful flowers that we also first seen in Fairies in Dreamland. Yeah, so there's a difference between like the way the male and female gnomes look. And, you know, some of the pictures sort of look a little bit disjointed for me, like half of a branch. But quite frankly, there's so many pictures in the book. There's 62, and they're all on single pages, that if I don't like one, which is probably all I don't like, then I've got heaps left. And I mean, quite frankly, I'm probably never going to finish colouring a colouring book anyway. The other thing I like is all these cute little gnome houses. I find colouring buildings and stuff very relaxing, and especially if you're new to colouring like me, it can be sort of less intimidating than trying to colour people. And I guess that's why I like this book so much, because for me it doesn't feel very intimidating. There's not a lot of skin to colour. You can colour it whatever you want. You know, there's no pressure to make it look natural because they're gnomes. You can do whatever you want, just like with the fairies and mermaids. And also the hair is very well delineated, so that makes it easier if you're just new to learning how to colour hair. We've got more gorgeous flowers. Now paper is white and it's a medium quality and it's on single sides, so if you pop paper underneath or a laminated page like I do, then you can use whatever medium you fancy. Now just bear in mind that it's not alcohol-based paper, it's colouring page paper. So if you're using something like Copic markers, you're not going to be able to blend them as you would if you used paper especially for that purpose. Aren't they gorgeous? So we've got our sleepy gnome. We've got our gorgeous flowers here. He's watering his flowers. Now some of the line art doesn't look as crisp as in her previous books, and I don't know whether that's intentional or not, but it doesn't take away from the book, so I'm fine with that. I really like this one, it's very cute, and I like all the flowers on the outside. Now the gnomes are pretty small in relation to the rest of the page, so if you do have a minor visual impairment, and because there's so much detail on the page, you may need to crack open that magnifying lamp if you've got one. And some of the images like this one, they do really go up against the spine, so I'm going to have to get Mr. Muscles onto the task, I think, of cracking the spine for me. So we've got this elaborate tree gnome house. And I can't see a gnome in here at all. They must be all inside colouring. We've got a slightly bigger gnome here inspecting his flowers. And it looks like there could be a little fairy asleep there, but I'll have to pop my glasses on. There is really a lot of detail in these pictures. Now, the good thing is, like with these parts, you could just do a colour wash over it if you didn't feel the urge to sort of blend and go through the whole show of creating grass. Now, this one really reminds me of Fairies in Dreamland, and it's just the fine detail and the beautiful branches and those gorgeous birds. And again with this one, the line art actually seems more hand-drawn than crisp and refined. And again, I don't mind it. It's a dull black, so it's not really intrusive like some thick dull black line art is. This is a gorgeous picture. I love this. Look at all the shoes that she has and all the different hats and bows. I think she's drying that one out. She's washed it. She's putting it out on a floral leaf to dry. I don't know why the little girl gnomes, they have really big noses. Is unusual, the female face. I don't mind it, but it's not what I expected. And we've got all our lollies and coffee and our dresses, so it's a shopping day in a tree house. How cute's that? So all the shops are up in the tree. And here she is, waiting for her Amazon order to arrive, probably. Even gnomes have to wait for the postman. There's a lot of flowers in this book. It's really find the gnome amongst the flowers. And I can't wait to see these coloured in. Be really interesting to see what everyone does with it. And this is the cover art, I believe. Yes. It is the cover art. Very detailed image. Lots and lots going on in this scene. Super cute though. Interesting though, the cover art features a lot of mushrooms, and so far we haven't really seen that many mushrooms at all. So look how they're blending in with the snow girls. So some of these would be great for our Christmas colouring alongs. And there's a lot going on this page. There's a lot of gnomes there. And that's a lot lighter in the line art. Gnomes going sledding. skating gnomes. And it's just like a picture from Fairies in Dreamland, which is always the one that I sort of call the Princess and the Pea. But this time we've got a gnome asleep on all the mattresses. And again, very reminiscent of her first book, and even with that sleeping piggy. I've got to say, I felt totally in love with that piggy in the first book, and I wish he had his own book. I think he's as cute as a button. There's another one great for Christmas, especially for us Australians that are sweltering at Christmas time. It's nice to look at some snow. Here we go, swinging. Again, a gorgeous image. Now there's heaps of leaves around here, and you don't have to do your leaves green. You can do your leaves whatever colour you fancy. Oh, how cute. Everyone's having a nap. Now these images are quite small, and for me, I wear reading glasses. I seriously would have to get my magnifying lamp out just to work out the different parts of those. I'd end up colouring things wrong. Now you can get magnifying lamps pretty cheap. I bought mine at Bunnings, which is a hardware shop in Australia, but you can get them everywhere. I think mine was about $40. It's incredibly useful. Obviously, if you've got great eyesight, then you don't need it. So we've got our gorgeous puppy, and he's giving the gnome a ride, and that's Norman the puppy. Who knows, he might get his own book one day. And look how they're washing the dog. That's a gorgeous picture. So there's some really cutely whimsical pictures in here. There's some that remind me of Denyse's previous books, and that gives it a bit of flow as well between the series. We've got a real difference between the amount of detail on the page and complexity, and some simpler images with easier to see line art. So a bit something for everyone. This is kind of a bit Mermaids in Paradise-y. We've got the old combi van, so we've got hippie gnomes. And they're on the beach. Now, at the moment, I've just got the book, so it's not laying down overly well for me, but I know with previous experience that it will push down and make it easier to colour in. Now, most of the images do stay away a bit from the spine, but there are a couple of pages that are pretty close. But once you crack that spine, it should be easier to colour. And what I mean by cracking the spine is just push down really hard until you hear that sort of crack, so that the page lays down flat and easy. Oh, this one's gorgeous. They're all taking flowers along the branch path. Very cute. Looks like they're decorating for Christmas. Doing a spot of fishing. And we've got a mermaid that looks very familiar from Mermaids in Paradise. So there is a real familiarity and similarity going on here. Got the gnome meeting the mermaid. Maybe she's passing the colouring book baton to him. Now, I know some people won't like that there are sort of reminiscent pictures of previous books like this one of mermaids. I actually think it gives it a lot of continuity and flow, and reminds you who the artist is and where they came from and what their previous books are. So we've seen this lady before in Mermaids in Paradise. I would have liked to see a Fairies in Dreamland reference, you know, as well on passing the baton, but I guess Fairies was the first book and Mermaids was the second. So then we've got this gorgeous art piece at the end. And that's it. Our gorgeous Gnomes in the Neighbourhood, 62 illustrations on lovely medium quality paper, which is single-sided so that you can use the medium of your choice. Until next time, happy colouring.